No diet is ever going to work unless you have the right mindset. And today you're going to learn by a leading expert how to eat mindfully. After all, don't you want to look great, feel great, and be great? Stay tuned.
Today, can't wait to take highway. All the things confronting me, they'll never get the best of me. Home begins with Paula White today.
Welcome to Paula Today. All right, I know that so many of us want to look great, feel great, and that's a wonderful thing. But did you know that 9 out of 10 people who start a diet, they absolutely fail? Now you're going to say, oh, why'd you have to tell me that? Because I've got hope for you. I've got a leading expert here who's written a book, Think and Eat Yourself Smart. She's going to help you not get into that failure category, not be part of the 90%, but be the part of the 10%. Because this is not just about food. There's so much more. So with me is Dr. Caroline Leaf, who you know is so good to have you with us, Dr. Leaf.
I'm so pleased to be here. Thank
and
you.
it is such a blessing. So she is, help me with all this, she is a communications pathologist. She is a research neuroscience. Am I getting it right so far? PhD in communication pathology. And she's a brilliant author, lecturer, teacher, and she's got a team of researchers that all these things that we've been told in life, all these things that we have come to believe are really faulty and false. And one of it is, you know, let's talk about eating. Let's talk about our health, because first off, the mind has a lot of power over the body. And some of the diseases, the inflammation, the things that we experience. But then what about the foods, and how do we get to that place where we have the energy, we feel good? It's not just about, okay, everybody loves the I look good part.
Yes.
But I like the I feel good.
Exactly, I agree with you.
And they go hand in hand.
They
when
totally
you
do.
feel good, your body's going to do what it should do.
Exactly, that's so totally correct. Well, Paula, there's one, there's so many diets out there, as you know, you can... And every day, this is good for you, tomorrow that's bad for you. So the confusion that reigns, it's got to a point in history where you almost need a nutritionist to help you do the most basic thing, which is eat. And that has concerned me. Now, as a neuroscientist and also practicing clinician for 25 years, I don't practice anymore, I had to advise people on also management of mind, but management of brain and body, because your mind is moving through your brain and your body. And as you were discussing on the other shows, your mind is 99% of who you are, and your brain and body are the 1%. But it doesn't mean you can neglect the 1%. Because it's only 1%, you think, oh, it's only a small percentage, I can eat whatever I want. I mean, I've even had people say to me, oh, well, I'll eat what I want and just pray grace. Then I say, well, God is not a genie. You don't use God like that.
Exactly.
If you call yourself a steward, you're a steward of all of creation, which is mind, body, brain, and the earth. So based on that, what happens is that there isn't one diet. There's one rule. And that one rule is eat real food mindfully. Now,
so I want to go here, eat real food. So that means things like processed food is going to be bad for us.
Because it's damaging to the body.
Things that are, so when we say real, we want to look at, just like the cover of this book, the broccoli, the avocados, the nuts, the good.
Exactly, the food that without the chemicals, without the farm-to-table stuff, the stuff that's alive, the stuff that's local, the stuff that's in season, as I call happy cows and happy chickens, the animals that have roamed through the pastures so that the omega-3 and 6 are balanced, which is so important for brain health and body health. So it's the most logical stuff. It's logical eating, but mindfully. The mindful part is massive. So when it comes to eating, mind actually dominates. Mind is the 80 to 95% of the process of eating, and the actual physical eating is only 5% of the process, which is interesting, or 5 to 20% of the process. So what that means is that every time you eat, your digestive system is being controlled by what you're thinking about.
So wait a minute, this is really important. When you sit down to eat, if your mind's not right, it's going to mess up your digestive?
Exactly. So your digestive system, from your tongue and all the different parts, from your tongue, your throat and your esophagus and your stomach and your pancreas and your gallbladder and your intestines, everything functions according to the instruction of the mind. So whatever your mind is thinking, that energy of your mind, this huge 99% that's moving through your brain and building the thought, is then influencing your digestive system.
Amazing.
So here you're sitting with this great organic farm-to-table salad with pasture-raised chicken or whatever it is that you're having, the virgin olive oil, the keto coffee, the whole bit. But you're sitting there totally toxic because you're not dealing with some sort of an acute stressor, or you've got unforgiveness in you, that's a massive one, or you're really bitter about something, or you're just irritable, or you've just had an argument with your husband or a friend or something. If you're frustrated or angry or bitter or unforgiving, and you're eating that great healthy keto or farm-to-table or pasture-raised kale salad, whatever, all the right stuff. If you have eating that, and what immediately happens is that thought it's a toxic thought. It instantaneously at quantum speeds, which is 10 to the 27, which is faster than 400 billion actions per second, sends this toxic energy through your entire digestive system. And your digestive system cannot work properly. Activates the vagus nerve, which is called the highway between the gut and the brain. And basically everything gets messed up. Multiple things.
That's crazy.
But one of the things, Paula, that gets, this is going to fall over, one of the things that's just one thing, just to give you an example, your pancreas, which is part of the digestive system, has to release 20 different neuropeptides for the assimilation of nutrients, and also to tell you when you're full and hungry. It plays a role. Everything plays a role, all of it together. So you can't separate out one. I'm just talking about one example. So all the things that can go wrong when you're toxic in terms of eating. So it's a healthy salad. One of the things that can go wrong is that your pancreas doesn't secrete those 20 neuropeptides, or it only secretes a few of them, or it doesn't secrete enough of them.
So is that what tells you you're not full yet?
Well, that's one of it. Works with your hypothalamus in your brain to tell you when you're full and not full. Works with your endocrine system. So everything works together. So if one thing crashes, kind of everything crashes.
Crashing.
So then you get this message, and if that isn't released, if those neuropeptides aren't released, that means you're actually not going to, you're going to lose up to 80, if not more, % of your nutrition, which then sets off a reaction in your gut. You reduce blood flow to your gut. Your mucosal lining of your gut doesn't reinstate itself. Your gut bacteria get damaged. You get a message back to your brain. You can get feelings of, I'm depressed, but you're not actually depressed. You just have got this crazy feedback loop going on because but then do the forgiveness or deal with that issue. Put your food down. Don't eat when you like that. I always tell people, you're not going to die if you don't eat. It's very good to fast. It's extremely good for your brain and longevity.
Right.
Put your food down. Don't eat if you're worked up. Only eat when you're calm. It's like, really, that's mindful eating. When I talk about eating real food mindfully,
it's interesting.
Don't eat when you crave.
So what happens, like when you're people? We live in a very high-paced, crazy society, and you see people going out to restaurants and a family sitting there, and they're all on their phone. They're all doing things with their phone, and instead of actually enjoying the meal, enjoying the family, enjoying the conversation. So that's impacting us, right?
Well, totally, because the phone, first of all, is generating a certain type of energy that stimulates your brain, and if you keep looking at it, it's very fast, especially if they're scrolling through social media. It's been designed to create these very fast bursts of stimulation that satisfies a hunger in the brain, but it doesn't. It's something that needs to be controlled because it backfires. So our brain can go fast, but it's not supposed to be fast all the time. So I'm not anti phone, but I'm anti the mismanagement. It's all about management. So if you put that phone there, that's the one thing it does. It's so that then you eat faster, you'll make bad food choices, you're not going to digest. The whole digestive system goes crazy.
So this whole thing of, okay, you've just got to eat this kind of food and exercise, really we can almost shelf it. I'm not going to say totally throw it out, but we can pretty much shelf that because a lot has to do with, are we brain healthy? Exactly.
If you don't get mind healthy, therefore brain healthy. So it's mind. So we have to renew our mind and bring our thoughts into captivity about eating. We have to look at what are the unconscious drivers for why am I grabbing that takeout food when I'm feeling anxious and worked up? Why am I not thinking about my food choice? You know, what is driving me to eat? Eating is not just something that we do to keep alive. Eating is a whole emotional, it's a metacognitive event. I want to talk about that. I know we're going to come back in just a minute, but a lot of times they say we emotionally eat. And so I think we try to sabotage, or maybe I shouldn't use such a strong word, but self-medicate ourselves by... Yeah, people can use it as comfort eating, and I'll explain to you why after the... Do you have to go to break now? Like what happens then, like why we're doing that, because so many people they'll say, man, I don't ever eat, or I barely eat, and I can't lose weight. But see, there's so much more than just the food itself.
and just the exercise itself, which both are important. What kind of food you're eating. Are you eating, like we said, the organic, the healthy, the good, the keto, all of that wonderful stuff. But if your brain's off, and remember, let's say this, if your mind's off, because the brain is the 1%, the mind is 99%, which is your thoughts, your feelings, and your choices. When that's off, it's like self-destructing everything that you think you're doing right. So we're going to come back and help you live a very healthy lifestyle, how you can think and eat yourself smart. We'll be right back.
Our thoughts before, during, and after eating profoundly impact our food choices, our digestive and brain health, and more. If you're tired of traditional diets that don't work, Think and Eat Yourself Smart from Dr. Caroline Leaf is an incredibly unique look at how our mind affects our eating habits.
If you think in a toxic way, so if you don't deal with your toxic issues, and if you don't deal with the traumas of your life, those two categories, voluntary and involuntary, put your body into low-grade inflammation. You can't digest food, you put on weight, you make the wrong food choices, you make the wrong life choices.
In the pages of Think and Eat Yourself Smart, from best-selling author, communication pathologist, and cognitive neuroscientist, you'll discover how to admit it concerning the modern American diet, quit it as you overcome the mindset and meals, and finally, beat it by learning how your food choices control your mind, which controls your brain, which controls your body. It also includes a 21 recipe kickstart from entrees to desserts and is available for your ministry gift of $40 or more when you call toll-free, write to Paula White Ministries, or click on paulawhite.org. You will also receive the companion workbook. It takes 21 days to rewire your brain, and then 42 additional days to begin building a new way of thinking. Think and Eat Yourself Smart offers the key to developing a healthier body, brain, and spirit. For life, be good stewards of the body God gave you. Request your copy today.
Thank you so much for supporting us to take the gospel all around the world and our wonderful, incredible humanitarian acts. We're feeding the hungry, I mean literally millions of pounds around the world, also visiting the prisoner, making change, transformation in lives, from building orphanages, schools, education, helping people with mental health care, so many other things. But thank you. Every time you give, it makes a huge difference. And I want to get to you, Dr. Leaf's Think and Eat Yourself Smart. Listen, this has 12 practical things in the back, how you can literally transform. And I'm not saying transform where you're going on a diet. Nobody wants to be on a diet. The first 3 words are die. So, I mean, it's like, this is how you become healthy. This is how you feel good, have that energy that you literally look good. And I'm going to say something about that in a minute. So, this is the book along with the workbook for your ministry gift of $40 or more, and so many people can say more. You know what people say to me all the time? So I'm a grandmother. I have a 3.5-year-old that you just got to meet, my little Asher. And I have Nicholas, who's a little over a year. Wow. My husband's almost 70, and they say he'll be 70 in a few months. Actually, probably right around when this is airing. And people always say to me, they can't believe it. They're like, you look too good. You are like Benjamin Button. You keep like
getting younger.
Getting younger. But I say, well, it's from the inside out. And it really is, because it's not what's going into my body. Now that's important. I do realize, like, you know, there was a time where I was so strict. I mean,
almost
I was
orthorexia.
Like,
you know, the orthorexia, where you're so focused on what you're eating. Do you know that term, orthorexia?
So tell me about that.
That is when one is so focused on being almost fanatic about being healthy food. And
yes, I was definitely had that issue. So I go.
A lot of us,
But it was interesting because I ate all the right stuff. I mean, I had the nutritionist. I did all the right things, and then John and I meet, we marry, and have all this wonderful, and he's a foodie. So I say, well, maybe I backslid in some of my eating, but what he did for me.
You got the mind right.
Exactly.
That's more important.
And I didn't realize it until this actual conversation. Because I'm like, oh, I backslid in my eating, you know. No. But actually, what I've done is I've slowed down. I've enjoyed my meals.
Wonderful.
It's community for us.
Totally.
You know, we think, we talk, we enjoy it. I videotape Chef John. So it's
cute.
really made a difference. And I want people to get a different perspective. So Dr. Leaf, help us to transform, because weight is a huge struggle. Health is a huge struggle. Now we know this, that most diseases are caused by inflammation. We know, I call like it that yeast beast. Sugar just feeds all that yuck stuff in our body, and you know, that's the grab and go type of stuff that we don't need to do. And we're doing devastating stuff to our children. You were telling me something about sodas.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, that just totally destroys the...
More than oxy and stuff.
Well, basically your top addiction is love. No one can live without love. Now the word addiction we see as being, we think it's a bad word, but addiction's a good word. It means consumed by. So we're wired for love, our brain and body's wired for love, the earth's wired for love, God is love, we live in love, we're made of love. At our fundamental core, we are waves of love energy at the quantum physics level. So food is also designed to feed that. So when we try and when we eat real food and mindfully, we operating in that love zone when it comes to eating. And that sounds so weird, but all we're doing is feeding it's all science. And science is God's stuff. But when we get toxic, we actually create, we create disturbance in our body, in our blood chemistry, in our the way our photons are moving in our body, the way our cells are functioning. So something like sodas and the modern American diet, they distort the correct addiction. So we shift, instead of love, we go to cravings. It's toxic. It's a toxic addiction, and it's never satisfied. So you keep going back for more and more and more. And so food is designed, and the food industry is unregulated, which is very important to understand. There are factories out there, I mean, laboratories out there that design food to override this, to take advantage of this consumed by this addiction, this need that we have in our body. We have to eat food, we have to love, and we have to eat food. And they design it in such a way to actually distort the hormone system and the brain system. So for example, food, they bring kids in as young as 3 and 4. They create these concoctions of chemicals and high fructose corn syrup and damaged fats and salts, and they give these different portions to these kids, looking for the point at which the child says, too sweet, too nice, too this, whatever. Oh, perfect. It's called the bliss point. So they're looking for the point where the child says, give me more, give me more, give me more. At that point in the brain, what we'll see is the thought pathway is damaged. The energy pathways are damaged in the brain. The hormone system becomes damaged. So they design food to damage your brain and your body and your endocrine system.
That's crazy.
So that you eat more, so you don't know when to stop. And that's why people consume vast amounts of junk food, because it's been designed to override your breaks in your brain and your body that God has naturally put into us. So this is why the modern American diet is, we have to be mindful. When you're not just giving your child a soda. Soda is more addictive. So if we go down the addiction list to bring it in full circle back, love is the first addiction. We can't live without love. We can't live without food. And so those are the top 2 addictions. In that same list are 5 addictions that we don't need. We can't live without love, we can't live without food. But we can live without heroin and cocaine and psychotropics and alcohol, which form basically the rest of that list. So the point here is that if you're not eating a healthy diet, you're eating the modern American diet. So number 2 is swapped from the healthy food to the unhealthy food. The modern American diet, the sodas, are more addictive than cocaine.
Wait. The modern American diet
is more addictive than cocaine and heroin.
More addictive than cocaine.
So I've said to parents, when I go to places and I see them feeding their kids junk food, I'll say, you're actually safer giving your child cocaine. Who's going to give their child cocaine? It's easier to get your child off cocaine than it is to get them off junk food. And the damage that's been done by the modern American diet is insidious. And then there's this feedback loop that's set up in your brain. But Paula, there's so much advice out there on what to eat healthy. That's why in my book, I don't teach you to eat a brain diet. I'm teaching you how to eat real food, what it is, mindfully. So when you spoke about you and John sitting down, that's like, I've got 12 points in the beated section, the third section.
Give me like some of those 12 points. What are a few of those that would help a person in a very practical way, so they would see lifestyle transformation, and then they're going to wake up. And honestly, so a lot of people don't. There was a time when I got pregnant with my son, who you just met, I gained over 100 pounds. So I was over 200 pounds, which people are like, there's no way, until they see the pictures. You know,
imagine,
and it's like, and it took me about a year, and after that, I never ever have had a weight problem.
Issue again,
and a lot of it has been by healthy thinking, healthy lifestyle, healthy eating, etc. It's been all the things we're talking about. So I understand these struggles. I understand the ways. I mean, I just wanted to eat all the time when I was pregnant. I didn't want to have morning sickness, so I ate peanut butter and jelly on English muffins constantly, like 10 hour probably. No, I mean, it was like ridiculous.
It was, yeah.
But that's so important because when you do get it right, your body naturally goes to the way it was created to be for God.
Exactly. That's exactly totally the point. So in this third section of the book, everything you've just said, I've kind of like put in the story that you've just described, where you've actually got your mind right around eating and lifestyle. What I've done is there's 12 points, and the first 7 literally mind things. So for example, when you are the preparation that goes into a meal, the way you sit down at a meal, the preparation that goes into when you go shopping. For example, if you are hopeful about your life, you will buy food that will actually give you longevity, versus if you feel depressed, you'll buy junk food. You know, so it's just things like don't eat with your cell phone, how you cook your food, the enjoyment of it, the socialization that occurs, the dealing, making sure that if you're angry and worked up, don't sit down and eat. So until you calm down. So if you have to miss the meal, rather get your mind right than just jumping in. See, we are designed, Paula, to self-regulate our thinking every 10 seconds.
Okay.
So from neuroscience we see, because we think, okay, self-regulation, what does that mean? We can control our brain doesn't control us. So we see from neuroscience that we are able to stand back and observe our own thinking and literally control what we are thinking about 6 times a minute, which is every 10 seconds, which means all the time. So you can constantly monitor your state of mind in every situation. In this case, we're talking about eating. And so that's vitally important. It's almost like you're living a life of prayer. It's continuous prayer. It's continually capturing your thoughts. And food is one of those things that we always celebrate everything around food. So it's a beautiful thing. We should be enjoying it. We've got taste buds in our throat that are designed for us to enjoy food. God wants us to enjoy food. Right. But if your mind is toxic, those taste buds don't work. If your mind is toxic, your gut won't work. Nothing works properly. So that's where the transformation begins with understanding even how to shop, even how to sit down, everything mind, and then into real food. So literally,
if my mind is toxic and I have these bad toxic thoughts, my taste buds are not going to work right.
No, they're not going to work right. Your system, your processing system is not going to work right. You're not going to, your gut microbiome won't work right. And there's a direct link between your brain and your gut, the enteric nervous system. There's brain tissue in your gut. There's more nerves in your gut, the brain tissue in your gut than there is in the spine.
So, okay guys, more brain tissue in your gut than there is in your spine. So there's no way you can go on a diet, you can go on the latest fads, you can get this one or you can get that one and go, why isn't it working? Because if you don't get it right up here, you're not going to get it right anywhere else. So Dr. Leaf has helped us with that. And we're going to be right back because we want to help you think and eat yourself smart. I know you want the body, you're going to get the body, you're going to get the body God designed you for. You're going to get all that. You're going to get the joy, you're going to get the peace, but you've got to get it right up here. We'll be right back.
Our thoughts before, during, and after eating profoundly impact our food choices, our digestive and brain health, and more. If you're tired of traditional diets that don't work, Think and Eat Yourself Smart from Dr. Caroline Leaf is an incredibly unique look at how our mind affects our eating habits.
If you think in a toxic way, so if you don't deal with your toxic issues, and if you don't deal with the traumas of your life, those 2 categories, voluntary and involuntary, put your body into low-grade inflammation. You can't digest food, you put on weight, you make the wrong food choices, you make the wrong life choices.
In the pages of Think and Eat Yourself Smart, from best-selling author, communication pathologist, and cognitive neuroscientist, you'll discover how to admit it concerning the modern American diet, quit it as you overcome the mindset in meals, and finally, beat it by learning how your food choices control your mind, which controls your brain, which controls your body. It also includes a 21 recipe kickstart from entrees to desserts and is available for your ministry gift of $40 or more when you call toll-free, write to Paula White Ministries, or click on paulawhite.org. You will also receive the companion workbook. It takes 21 days to rewire your brain, and then 42 additional days to begin building a new way of thinking. Think and Eat Yourself Smart offers the key to developing a healthier body, brain, and spirit. For life, be good stewards of the body God gave you. Request your copy today.
Are you ready to look great, feel great? Well, you've got to be able to think and eat yourself smart, literally. And Dr. Caroline Leaf has taught us how in her book. She gives 12 very practical things at the back that are going to help you. We've talked about some of them, like the socialization, the phone, I mean, how you cook, how you think, all about this. There's shopping. If you go shopping and you're angry, we're going to deal with so many more things, but this really is a guidebook that is so different. It's not telling you you've got to be on this kind of diet or that kind of diet. This is going to give you where you have the energy, you feel good, and feeling good and have the energy, I promise you're going to look good, because that's just the natural consequence. And then you're going to get the workbook along with that for $40. And when you call the toll-free number, write the P.O. box, or you go to the website, you're going to help us preach the gospel around the world to help millions of people like we are today. And you know, there is something significant that when you have that kind of energy, I could never do what I do if I didn't take serious that my body belongs to the Lord, and I had to take care of it as much as anything else. So does my mind, so does my spirit, every aspect of that. So people are dying prematurely at an unprecedented rate. And I know we've only got like a minute or so left, but all disease basically is related to inflammation.
Exactly.
And inflammation comes from what, Doctor?
Well, basically from your thought life. So we see that for the first time in history, the trend of people living longer has reversed completely from the mortality statistics. So people are, the way you think, if you think in a toxic way, so if you don't deal with your toxic issues, and if you don't deal with the traumas of your life, those two categories, voluntary and involuntary, put your body into low-grade inflammation, and that basically sets you up for, you can't digest food, you put on weight, you make the wrong food choices, you make the wrong life choices, and that's 95% of disease is coming from our thought life. This is causing inflammation, is causing disease, the cancers, the cardiovascular, those 95% of diseases are lifestyle diseases.
The mind is powerful.
The mind is...
So when we sit here and think about, there really is, when we say the old saying, mind over matter, there is truly matter.
Well, that's what capturing, that's capturing thoughts, mind over matter.
It's amazing what this does. So it impacts every single area of your life. And if you want to get healthy, if you want to get, have your vitality, if you're saying, I want to look good, I want to look good in that bikini, all right, get there. But you've got to get there by making some right decisions, because remember, mind is thoughts, feelings, and choices. So I want to pray for you, because perhaps you've been struggling, and I know that so many people say, Paula, please pray for me. I've had this addiction. I've been struggling with weight. I've been struggling with feeling like a failure. I struggle with, and think about how we reinforce. So if you go on a diet, which only, 1 out of 10 are successful at, then you feel like a failure. When you feel like a failure, you start self-sabotaging, then inflammation, then you'll get sick, your body breaks down, and it becomes this cycle. So Father, in the name of Jesus, right now, we just pray for everyone who is struggling. Let them know that whom the Son sets free is free indeed, and they are freed by the truth that they know. So I pray for a real relationship with you, that if they would confess Jesus Christ as their Lord and their Savior, and believe in their heart, believe that, receive that, and that they would receive you, that they would begin a brand new life as a brand new creation in Christ Jesus. I pray that you would set them free with knowledge and the power of your word. We love you, God bless you, and make sure you reach out to Paula White Ministry.
Think and Eat Yourself Smart offers the key to developing a healthier body, brain, and spirit for life. Be good stewards of the body God gave you. Request your copy of this life-changing book and workbook for your ministry gift of $40 or more when you call or click on paulawhite.org today.